Do y'all remember that black guy, Telvin Osborne, the one that said he would rather be with a dog than a black woman? The same one that was unalived by his white girlfriend after they were arguing the whole way home from the club, and she decided to clean out the gun and accidentally unalived him. That one. Well, a grand jury decided not to pursue charges against her. And a part of me is just sitting here wondering if this is what it must be like when you piss the ancestors off.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but imagine telling the world you'd rather sleep with a dog than a black woman. And not just any dog, but a white dog. And then being killed by your actual white girlfriend. If irony was a person, baby, it just filed a wrongful death suit. What's up, y'all? Thank you for tuning into the Culture Debrief, where we break down the latest drama in black culture. Because let's be real, if we don't talk about it, who will? So today we're talking about the story of Telvin Osborne, a 30-year-old black man from Georgia who was shot and killed by his white girlfriend, and somehow he's the one being put on trial by the internet. So let's break it all down. February 23rd, 2025, Berkeley County, Georgia, Telvin Osborne ended up dead after being shot in the chest by his 25-year-old girlfriend, Hannah Grace Cobb. She says it was self-defense. Says he came to her with a knife, so she locked herself in the bathroom, and when he kicked the door in, bang, shot him once in the chest with her 9mm. Sounds like a Lifetime movie with a mugshot twist, right? But wait, before the door kicking, Hannah also told police she was cleaning her gun and it just accidentally went off. So depending on what part of the story you believe, either this was a tragic accident or the most conveniently dramatic self-defense arc in Georgia history. Either way, Hannah was arrested, briefly. She got hit with an involuntary manslaughter charge. But then came the plot twist no one with melanin asked for. A grand jury said, nah, we good. No indictment, no trial. And the DA said, and I quote, "The grand jury has spoken, the case is closed like Telvin's casket." Well, they didn't say that part, but I did. Now, you would think the conversation would be about justice, but no. Black Twitter did what Black Twitter does, and someone dug up that tweet. Now, if you don't know what tweet I'm talking about, I'm about to tell you right now. Yeah, take a second. That's what Telvin allegedly posted. Not paraphrased, not misquoted. That's the statement. He didn't just say he didn't like black women. He didn't just say he preferred white women. He compared black women to loud, disobedient animals and then uplifted literal white dogs over us. And you know what's wild? A lot of folks online saw that and said, well, damn, I mean, like, I don't support murder, but which is exactly the problem, because now we're having debates about whether someone deserves empathy because of the racist tweets instead of asking why another black man is dead and his killer is free. And if this sounds like we've been here before, it's because we have. Y'all remember Christian Obusele, Miami 2022? Another black man stabbed to death by his white girlfriend, Courtney Clenny. Another wave of old tweets resurfaced where he called black women ugly and claiming dating white women was leveling up. Yeah, that self-hatred was practically sponsored. But what happens? Same formula. Dead black man, white girlfriend claims self-defense, internet splits in half, sympathy evaporates. And let's be clear, some people were cheering like death is a punishment for bad taste, like your preference being rooted in internalized racism means you deserve a bullet to the chest. But here's my take. Because it's easy to write men like Telvin Osborne off as self-hating and anti-black, and trust me, some of them are. But if we're going to have a real conversation about this, we got to admit that some of the negative stereotypes about black women that certain black men internalized didn't just come from movies or music videos. They came from personal experiences. From the aunties who emasculated them, from the mother who was too overwhelmed to nurture them, from the girl in middle school who laughed at their dark skin, or the woman who only showed them love after they glowed up. For some of these men, the bitterness didn't start in the textbook, it started in the house. And that matters. It matters because pain, especially childhood pain, shapes people. It's the kind of wound that festers quietly until it starts showing up in relationships, in preferences, and in dangerous ideas about who's worthy of love. But here's where I draw the line. Pain is not a permission slip for anti-blackness. Your mama being hard on you does not justify you saying you'd rather sleep with a white dog than a black woman. Your heartbreak in high school does not give you the right to demean any entire group of women who share your skin color. At some point, we have to grow up emotionally. We have to start differentiating between individual hurt and collective hatred. So yeah, some black men have had real difficult, traumatic experiences with black women, but so have black women with black men. But when men like Telvin don't do that healing, when they sit in the pain long enough for it to curdle into resentment, that's when it becomes dangerous. That's when the line between preference and pathology gets blurry. And that's when we end up with situations like this, where a black man is dead, a white woman walks free, and the public can't even agree whether or not we should care. So I say all of this to say, we can acknowledge the pain, we can understand the origin, but what we can't do is excuse the outcome, because that pain may not be their fault, but the hatred they choose to spread because of it, that part absolutely is. So now let's talk about something we rarely bring up when these tragedies happen: community policing, not from law enforcement, but from us. Because apparently some people think you can publicly bash black women, uplift literal white dogs, and still expect a standing ovation from the community when life comes for you like a repo man. That's cute. Listen, I don't know who needs to hear this, but being black is not a subscription you can pause until something goes wrong. You don't get to throw us under the bus Monday through Friday, then circle back for protection on Saturday like, hey, are y'all still marching with me? Like, no, this is not Amazon Prime. There are no loyalty points for disrespect. So let's keep it real. Telvin said what he said, and it was disgusting. And the second he got killed by the very whiteness he was glorifying, people hesitated. Why, you may ask? Because he already made it clear who he did and didn't stand with. So why should the community automatically rally behind someone who dragged them through the mud while he was still alive? And before y'all start crying, but that's not justice, let me explain something. This isn't about deserving to die. It's about understanding that words matter. How you speak about your people matters. And the way you treat your community, especially in public, will absolutely shape the way your community responds to you in crisis. So here's the revolutionary idea I have. Maybe it's time for a code of conduct, a little cultural constitution. Nothing crazy, just some basic behavioral guidance, like don't compare your mama, your sister, your daughter, or your ex to a white dog. Don't use your trauma as a weapon against your own community. And don't expect us to throw on matching t-shirts and march for you if your whole brand was fuck black people. Because community protection has to be earned. It's a two-way street. You can't break the window and then be mad we didn't bring you an umbrella when it rains. We need community policing, not 12, but us, holding each other accountable like grown-ass people. If we don't start calling out this behavior before it hits headlines, we'll keep watching folks die alone while we argue in the comments about whether or not we should even care. And that's not unity. That's dysfunction wearing a do-rag. So yeah, talk your talk, date who you want, post how you feel, but just know the black community is not a safety net for people who spend all their time trying to cut holes in it. So we got to stop playing this game where we choose between justice and accountability. You can't condemn what Telvin said and still believe he deserves due process. You can't call out his anti-blackness without rooting for his execution. And let's also clock what's going on here. In both Telvin and Christian's cases, white women played the victim, claimed fear, and walked away either uncharged or unbothered, and the court ate it up like Chick-fil-A on a Sunday. Meanwhile, black women are out here getting sentenced for defending themselves from abusers, while white women kill and cry, and it's case closed. So ask yourself, is this justice, or is just another form of white privilege cosplaying as self-defense? So let me know in the comments, did the internet go too far, or is this what just happens when you publicly hate the people who birthed you? Do we excuse murder because the victim was problematic, or is the system still doing what it always done, protecting white tears over black lives? So please like, comment, and subscribe if you want more unfiltered shares, more uncomfortable conversations, and more Culture Debrief, where the truth don't care about your feelings and neither do I.